As usual, on the program today, we'll be taking a look at a topical national issue in this case, from the perspective of the rule of law and the Constitution. Today, we'll be discussing Operation Python Dance 2 and its legality or otherwise. The Nigerian Army on the 8th of September announced it was set to commence a crackdown on violent agitators, kidnappers and other bandits in the southeast geopolitical zone. The crackdown, it said, will be prosecuted through exercise Egwike 2, that is Operation Python Dance 2 in Abia, Anambra, Ebonyi, Enugu and Imo State. The exercise, the Army said, is to be conducted in the 82 Division area of responsibility covering 5 states of the southeast and will last from the 15th of September to the 14th of October. This was announced in a press statement signed by Major General Didi Amadu, the Chief of Training and Operations, Nigerian Army. Python Dance 2, according to the statement, has been made more expedient by the rampancy of assassinations, attack on security personnel, theft of weapons, violent agitations, armed banditry and kidnapping. However, before the actual commencement of the latest operation, a major confrontation took place in Umuahia, the Abia state capital. Soldiers who were on patrol with an armored personnel carrier in the area of the residence of Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, were physically prevented by members of the IPOB from passing through the road. The soldiers were denied the right of way by IPOB members for the reason of their fear that the military patrol was a pretext for the invasion of the house and eventual arrest of or the abduction of their leader, Nnamdi Kanu. In the confrontation, IPOB members pelted the soldiers with stones and sticks and other hard objects, while the soldiers fired warning shots to disperse the assailants. In the process, it was reported that a soldier and a passerby were injured. However, we also hear stories of people, IPOB members, allegedly tortured and killed by the Army who were on patrol involved in this Operation Python Dance. So today on the program, we're taking a look at what transpired in Abia State, which led to the imposition of curfew by the state government, the legality of Operation Python Dance, what is the constitutional role of the Army in situations like this, and other issues arising from Operation Python Dance. Also, Igbos in Kano and other northern states were reportedly apprehensive over the killings and agitations going on in the southeast and have so far come out to dissociate themselves from the activities of the IPOB. And on the program with me today, I have our legal practitioners as usual who will be taking a look at this issue. On the program with me today is Barrister Michael Munden. You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
All right. I also have with me Barrister Adamu Ibrahim. You're welcome.
My pleasure.
This is your first time on the show,
Very well.
and I hope you have a very good time on the show today. All right, let's take a look at Operation Python Dance. It has led to this past week has been one where we hear stories, accusations, and counter accusations of what is allegedly going on in the southeast. We have some actuality and we have some which many people feel have been blown out of proportion. Let's take a look at Operation Python Dance. The Army says this is expedient based on the situation, violent agitations, attack on security personnel, rampancy of assassinations, kidnapping and armed banditry. So in view of that, it has deployed its men to conduct Operation Python Dance. What is your view first before we go into the legality or otherwise of this? What's your view of Operation Python Dance 2?
Very well, thank you very much. I want to state from the beginning that Operation Python Dance is an illegal act of the government. The reason is that Operation Python Dance is carried out by soldiers, the army. And then the soldiers have their traditional role of protecting the security, they are responsible for the security, internal and external security of the nation. Now, before you can talk of deploying them to quell certain situations into certain circumstances based on your own judgment, it has to reach a point that is threatening the security of the nation. Now, what I tend to see, because by section 217, subsection 2, sub C of the 1999 Constitution as amended, that the federal government draws the authority to deploy army or soldiers to any part of the country where there is supposed to be insurgency or insurrection. Now, what is insurrection? How do you determine that there is an insurrection in a particular place? Insurrection, as openly defined, is a situation that you have violent in capital letters, violent protest, agitation against the government, against the civil rule. In fact, another word for insurrection is mutiny. So if you want to equate the situation that is happening in the southeast to insurrection, then the federal government would be legally bound to deploy the soldiers to go and quell the insurrection and maintain internal security and maintain law and order.
So in your view, what is happening in the southeast
is an
does
illegality.
not warrant the
It does
deployment
not warrant.
of soldiers.
It does not warrant. There is no doubt that there are some issues happening in the southeast, but it has not crystallized to the point of sending soldiers, starting to bring about Operation Dance, Operation Gorilla, Operation Crocodile, Operation this and that. It doesn't come to that.
All right, let's have your take, Barrister Adamu.
Oh, thank you very much. I think I hold a different view from what my colleague here has just stated.
All right, very well.
Very well. First and foremost, he has stated all the ingredients that needs the deployment of security men into some states of the Federation, namely Abia, Imo, in fact, the Southeast region completely. He has completely itemized the things that ordinarily should have warranted the deployment of the security men, which is the military. And I think at this point, I must commend the federal government for having taken the right step at the right direction. They say a stitch in time saves 9. What the IPOB members are doing is a threat to the security of this nation. And once there's a threat to the security of a nation, it is incumbent on the government of the day, a responsible government, which I believe this particular government is, and the step the government has taken is a step to bring sanity in the country. The IPOB members is an illegal organization, and they have continually, in fact, from the events that took place from the 4th, 5th, 6th of this month, is very clear. We had that so many other persons were killed as a result of this threat to the security by the IPOB members. If you are very much conversant with that particular state or this state that comprises the southeast portion of this country, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. People in those areas no longer go about their normal businesses. They have been threatened by these members. They have been harassed by these members. In fact, some of them have been maimed and killed. When you go on social media, you see all these things attributed to the IPOB members. If the government did not act on time, certainly the situation will go out of control. And at that point in time, it would have been too late. They say it is too late to cry when the head is cut off.
So you're saying
So I am
the
saying
government acted at the nip of time.
very, very well.
All right. And it is legal?
Very, very legal.
All right. Let's look at the constitutional role of the army, Barrister Munnan. You said this is illegal,
Yes.
necessary. Whatever is happening in the southeast does not warrant the deployment of the army. Let's look at the constitutional role of the army. The functions of the army, according to Section 217 of the 1999 Constitution, as altered under subsection 2, provides that the Federation shall, subject to an act of the National Assembly made in that behalf, equip and maintain the armed forces as may be considered adequate and effective for the purpose of defending Nigeria from external aggression, maintaining its territorial integrity and securing its borders from violation on land, sea or air, suppressing insurrection and acting in aid of civil authorities to restore order when called upon to do so by the President, but subject to such conditions as may be prescribed by an act of the National Assembly, and D, performance such other functions as may be prescribed by an act of the National Assembly. In light of the above, is it apt if I ask whether the separatist campaign of IPOB, for which the army was deployed under the Operation Python Dance, amounts to external aggression pursuant to paragraph A of what that is threatening Nigeria's territorial integrity?
Very well. It does not, from any layman angle.
You feel the
It does not-
IPOB is not threatening Nigeria's territorial integrity?
It is not threatening the Nigerian territorial integrity. What IPOB is doing is agitating for self-independence. They want to control what they produce. They want a situation that they are given right to fair hearing in their own society. What they are actually agitating for is for them to be given equitable role in the nation that we are. And at the point, because their voices have been sort of jettisoned, they decided to make it loud. They have never been violent. They have not been violent. We have not heard when they say that they are armed with guns and all that, like the Boko Haram and all the other might-sending people and all that happen in Nigeria. We had nothing. So what I'm saying is that the only ingredient there that the government is hiding under to bring about the issue of deploying soldiers to the southeast is that there is insurrection. There's no insurrection as far as I am concerned in the southeast. There's no insurrection. If you look at the entire nation, you discover that there is agitation all over the country. Everywhere you have agitation. In this Yoruba land, you are having agitation from the Duduwa people. You have agitation from the south-south. You have agitation from the north. Everywhere you have agitations all over. But where you have the agitation that now move to the point of using gun, becoming violent, that is where we say that the security of the nation is threatened. But here, you have these people going about. In fact, I even saw them on social media that they have their own secret service of a thing, wearing uniform and all that. They are not armed. There's not, in fact, if they had a gun, they would have. We have information that they are the leader, Kanu, is also making, appealing to people to give them money to buy arms and all that. But there is no evidence, concrete evidence, that they are armed. So if these people are not armed, it has not moved to the point of deploying soldiers. What are the police supposed to do? If you have to take over the functions of the police and give to the soldiers, it is wrong. They have their special rule that is specified under that section 217 of the Constitution, and they should be allowed to do that. It is very, very wrong in my own thinking, in my own interpretation of the Constitution and my knowledge of the law, for the government to send soldiers to the southeast to quell purported insurgency or agitation, violent agitation. The police can handle that, the mobile police can handle that, and all that.
All right, just joining us on the program is Barrister Deknojo. You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
All right, we're taking a look at Operation Python Dance, and the Army already gave reasons for the deployment of soldiers to the southeast states of Abia, Anambra, Ebonyi, Enugu, and Imo State. Would you say that this is illegal and unconstitutional, as many pointed saying the southeast is not in a war situation, so why deploy the Army?
Well, my position really is that you don't really need to wait until there is a full-blown war before you know that there is a drumming of war or a drumbeat of war. As we are now, it could be taken for granted that, look, the man is not yet shooting at Nigerians. He has not come to Abuja. He has not deployed his armored tank. He has not deployed any other thing the way we are looking at it. But then, you see, insurrection starts from from a step. Terrorism starts by you taking a step. Secession, like we know, it starts by you taking a step. I'm talking about your territorial integrity. I am a government. I have every right to protect what belongs to me. If any other thing has to be done otherwise, it has to be done in a very formal manner. But by the time you start having, like my brother said, they already have their own security services. Can you have two security services in one nation? It has to come under one umbrella. You see, if he says, okay, like we have read in all the, I've not been to the southeast in recent time, that's the truth. But then we have all read it and no one has contradicted it, that look, there was a roadblock deployed by some people and the army men tried to pass by. You see, for me, section 217 of the Constitution has always been there. And you don't need to beckon on the man you want to curb his excesses before you apply what you are supposed to do. I've asked this question from several other persons. I have asked this question and I'm going to ask it, what makes the deployment of military into such places illegal? I cannot say it. They are fully protected by section 217 of the Constitution. They don't need to beckon on anybody before it is done. You have seen in your own thinking. You are the commander-in-chief of armed forces, and you felt, look, if I allow this to go beyond what it is, it might escalate into a full-blown war. What stops me from stemming it before it gets to that level? I saw something on social media, just like every other person, that looks like a missile that is being built and all whatnot. I've seen a man that appeared who does not have a respect for the Nigerian flag again, who hoists his own flag, which in all indication is already having a country of its own. If you have that there, that was the way Boko Haram started. And we are still battling with it today. And I can tell you one truth. If they should be allowed to become fully developed, the way Boko Haram is, it's going to be too calamitous for a country to fire at both or on two ends at the same time. For me, what the federal government has done, what the Nigerian army has done, is in order. The only thing is, you see, I've had this on a few occasions that people were dehumanized unnecessarily, and I think that is excessive. You can curtail certain things. Yes, for me, you don't really, you see, with the way we are, yes, if the Nigerian police are incapable of doing it, why not beckon on your brother, military, other law enforcement agents, just like the army, to do it? And that is exactly what is going on. It doesn't have to be police at all costs. So for me, I think it's in order. For me, I've not seen anything illegal about it. But then the story of dehumanization of people there should be investigated. And if it is investigated, whoever is found wanting should be brought to book.
Okay, let me just quickly chip this in. Do you, Barcelona, and they say the activities of the IPOB does not amount to insurrection. So I want to ask you, in your own view, do you think the activities of the IPOB amounts to insurrection? Does it in any way challenge the territorial integrity of Nigeria?
Well, I'm going to say it this way. It is an insurrection. It is an act calling for a secession. And it's an act of terrorism. Fear enough, by the time you put some terror that is the way, because at times you look at the lexicon, you really find the way a book defining terrorism the way it should be. But then whatever you do that puts terror in the general public, it could be ethnic, it could be religious, it could be whatever, for as long as it puts terror not only on the poor but equally on the rich. The poor, they are running they need protection, isn't it? They need security. The rich too, they are running scatter, because basically if you say, like they've made some declarations that for me is more than a mere insurrection. For them to have come out and say there will not be an election. There will not be an election in Anambra State, and you still expect that we should fold our arms and wait until that day, until the day of election before they are curbed, before they are stopped. Oh, they ought to be stopped. You see, for me, Kano can be arguing under certain things that, look, I'm already on trial. People can be arguing that for as long as the man has been granted bail, why not go back to the court and revoke his bail? But for me, it does not hold water. A man can commit an offense yesterday and be remanded for that offense. If he's granted bail, if he commits another offense, he has to be rearrested all over again. And if it's going beyond mere simple criminal thing, if it's going to threaten almost every other person, is threatening even the governors of southeastern states. They have come out to cry, look, this is not what we bargained for. We never, yes, as much as they are saying, look, we don't want army. But they are equally saying that IPOB, we don't want you. They are caught in between. But for us, we have to be decisive. And as a people, as a government, even if the present government is not doing this, then they must have shirked in their responsibility. They ought to do what they are doing, and they are doing it well.
All right.
I don't want to be misquoted or misunderstood.
All right.
I am not saying that what IPOD is doing is right. What I am saying is that whatever action they are doing there, whatever action is going on there, the police is capable of handling the situation. It does not call for the intervention of the army, because these are statutory roles. The army has its own role spelled out by the constitution. The police has its own role. So it is what is going on now falls under the ambit of the police and not the army. That's my argument. And so the army going over there, being sent to that place, and you know the army is only trained to kill. That is their duty. They have no sense of democracy and all that. Their own is, you do something, we kill you. And you can see from what happened, they paraded those people and they were beating them, and some of them were killed and all that stuff. Their duty is, if they were policemen there, there's no way they would have handled that situation that way, the one we saw on social media. So I am saying that it is not the duty of the soldiers. It is only the duty of the police as of now. It has not come to the war situation that you have to deploy soldiers to that place. That is my own take.
All right, Barrister Adamu, do you feel the police, the Nigerian police as we have now, is capable of containing whatever is going on in the southeast?
Look, first and foremost, let's get things clear.
All right.
It has gone beyond doubt that what is happening in the eastern part of this country has gone beyond the curtailment of what the police can do. Look, sometimes in 2003, when this issue of Boko Haram started, like a joke, the police in Borno State were deployed to quell the activities of the Boko Haram members. It started peacefully. They didn't employ anything like threat to the security of this country or anything. It started gradually. But when things got out of hand, I remember vividly the government of late President Yar'Adua deployed some soldiers to that place. And before he knew it, everything was brought to an end. Then the government went to sleep. Suddenly, these people regrouped and became a monster that till today, the government of today is battling to make sure it brings the activities of the Boko Haram to an end. You all know how much has been expended, or at least you may have a little inkling into how much resources has gone into the fight against Boko Haram, that resources would have been used for the development of this country. This country can no longer wait anymore for any part of the country or people of a particular extraction threatening the peace and security not only of the country, but also of the citizens in the country. And you expect a responsible government to wait and do nothing? What are even the indices of a terrorist organization? When you itemize all these things, you discover that IPOB has got all the indices. And I think if IPOB and its members can be proscribed using the due process of law, it is a terrorist organization.
All right, let's take a look at Nnamdi Kanu's activities and his agitation. The question now is, Kanu has repeatedly stated that what IPOB is clamoring for is simply the restoration of Biafra via a United Nations monitored referendum to determine whether or not Igbo people and other kindred groups in the South and Southeast geopolitical zone wish to either remain in Nigeria or have a separate state of their own. He also maintains that IPOB's demands is guaranteed under numerous international law instruments which protect the right to self-determination. What do you think of this?
Very well. As I said that these people have the right to agitate for their self-independence because of the injustice meted to them. They have the right. Every other citizen of Nigeria has a right to say, I don't want to be here. I want to be here. I want this thing to be this way and all that. I bet the mechanism, the modus operandi of getting across your agitation is one thing. You see, a lady friend here said Boko Haram started by gradual, peaceful agitation and all that. There was no time, I can't remember, I have been in this country from the beginning when this Boko Haram started. There was no time we heard that these people were agitating for a particular thing peacefully. We only heard that they started killing people, carrying guns all over the place, saying that they did not want Christians and all that. Before you knew it, they started killing the Muslims alongside and all that, saying that they did not want Western education and all that. Up to today, as we are speaking, nobody knows what the agitation is actually for. But these people came out from the beginning. They said they want self-determination. They want a situation that they are given their own separate area to live. They want a situation, they are not talking with arms, they are not talking with guns. They want a situation that we sit down together. They are talking of referendum. We want a situation that they sit down together, supervised by United Nations, and let us vote and say, we want this, we don't want this. And everybody in the country will vote. So they have not carried any guns to do this. It is only that when the federal government decided in its own wisdom to arrest Kanu and brought him to court, this whole thing catapulted into what it is now. Up till now, they have not gone into a situation that they are armed violently. They are still peaceful agitators, to my knowledge. And so they have the right. They have the international laws provide specific areas that you can agitate for your own rights. You understand? And so when the country discovers that what you have done is not in tandem with the laws of the land, they have the right to say, okay, what you are doing is not right. Let us go this way. And then they get to they charge you to court and all that. But what they are doing is covered by international laws. And then what the government needed to do in the circumstances is to call the people together. Let us sit down and see whether what these people are actually talking about is reasonable, whether they can go their way or whether they cannot. The Constitution says that Nigeria is a united, indivisible entity and should not. So there is no doubt about that. But when we start talking about all these issues of agitations and all that, we look at the structure of Nigeria. How did we start? How did we get to where we are? You understand? And that was the reason the people came about restructuring issue. They said that Nigeria should be restructured. Restructuring does not mean secession. Restructuring does not mean excising some sections of the country to become different countries. Restructuring simply means devolution of powers, reducing the powers of the federal government to the state, to the local government, so that the states will be independent to be able to carry out their own duties, taxation and all that, and develop their own region and their own state at their own pace, based on their own resources. They should be able to manage their resources by themselves, and not by somebody, not by appointing one international organization to manage and exploit your own resources and move it to somewhere else. That is what these people are talking about. You see, if there was equity in this country, if there was fairness in the administration of things in this country, I don't think these people would have gone ahead to agitate for self-determination. It's only because when you look at the way things are, you discover that these people have been marginalized. Everybody says we are marginalized and all that. They don't come out with figures. But when you look at the setup,
you feel the Southeast is more marginalized,
it's more marginalized than every other region.
All right.
Even in terms of the number of states. How many states do we have there? How many states do we have in the South? How many states do we have in the other regions? These are issues that have erupted out along the line, and so they must be addressed to be able to quell, to be able to. It's not. You don't use fire to quench fire.
All right, Barrister Ojo, what do you make of
well, for me, I still see every act of Kanu and his squads as criminal. And as much as I say they are criminal, they are targeted at putting the people under terror and perpetual terror. And I say that without missing word. That look, for me, you don't need to. If yes, you have every right to say, look, I like to have a country of mine. And where you say that, it has to be in a civil manner. Whereby, if you are yet to have a country of your own, then you are not entitled to have a flag, two flags of two different countries within within one country. You understand what I mean?
So they did not go about it
the right way? Yes, they are not going about it the right way. As it is now, like I said earlier, they already have their army, which I could call a ragtag one, carrying clubs, cutlasses, and all whatnot. They threw it at people and all whatnot. They have enough capacity to stop an election from holding in that state if left with Nigerian police alone. That's it, because that was a question to my learned friend. If they are allowed to match up with the police because of the guerrilla form of their for operation, because basically you are fighting with people you don't really know too much about, and police are trained to attend to civil crises as much as possible, to deal with the civil populace. They are not trained to deal with people that are already forming themselves into army of operation and all whatnot. With the way you have it, if we allow them to go beyond what we have now. Boko Haram started in that manner. I don't know why my brother is distinguishing. Basically, Boko Haram said, we don't want our children to go to school. That was where they started from. And these people too are saying that we want to have Biafra. We don't want our people to vote. They are saying so many things at the same time. This is just the same manner in which Boko Haram started. And for a good number of us, police are not equipped to combat guerrilla fighters. For me, these people, for somebody to come around and say, I want to form a country of my own, and whether you like it or not, I'm going to do it. He has some backers. He has some people that are backing him up. He has certain things kept somewhere that he might use one day. That's my personal feeling about it. I can't come around and say, oh, I'm going to bring Lagos down. If I don't have what it takes to bring Lagos down, It starts by way of pronouncement. And I'll put my talk, I will walk my talk at a later stage. So for someone to come around and say, we want Biafra, we don't want any other thing, if you ask the man now to sing, to take up the anthem of his country, he's going to say something else. If you ask him to talk about his country, he's going to talk about Biafra and not what more. And can we have two countries, two suffering countries in one country, in one nation? Is it feasible? Is it possible? How could you have become, how can you be the head of state or the president of the country and you open your eyes and you allow it to thrive underneath your nose? And more so, we have a president who is a retired military officer, a general for that matter, a former military head of state. And you are still saying we don't know what, and we are still saying that we don't know, he does not know what to do under this situation. I think he's doing it right. And for me, police are not equipped to do it. This is not a matter of, my brother is taking us to a different topic entirely. And I think we won't go there today. Because if it was about who is cheated and who is not cheated, devolution, that can wait for another. But for today, for me, these guys are a bundle of terrorists and they should be held as one.
All right. Would you say the federal government never handled this agitation well right from the onset? The federal government never listened. Would you say the federal government never gave them a fair hearing, called them to a round table, and so this is degenerating to this extent as what we have in the Southeast?
No, from the beginning, I would say the government has done what it should do. But where the government is doing its best and you are frustrating that move, what do you expect? What do you expect? Look, the southeastern part of this country have representatives, both in the state and in the National Assembly. If you want to change anything, why not talk to your representatives, either at the state level or at the national level? If you want a state of your own,
or a country of your own,
or a country of your own,
propose it.
Propose it to your representatives. You may even start from the state level. I bet you when you go to any of the states of the eastern part of this country, 99.9% of the representatives are all Igbo-speaking people. So you can easily work your way out. Talk to them. This is what we want. From there, they can equally talk to those at the National Assembly. Incidentally enough, the deputy senate president of this particular country is from that particular region of this country. Is the deputy senate Ike Ekweremadu. He can lobby his way out. He can call other senators, other House of Rep members. This is what our people want. Then we present it. Then you take it before the authority. They will deliberate it on it. Once it is passed into an act of the National Assembly, so be it. But they have chosen to abandon the legal procedure of doing things and have chosen to go, through an illegal and unlawful means of achieving this aim. It can never be achieved. I call this a daytime dream. Nigeria is too big for this kind of a thing to happen and successfully get it done.
I keep asking a question. In what capacity is Kanu even calling for this secession?
I was going to ask, the leaders of the Southeast, nobody's
coming
out.
No, they have come out to say, they have come out to say,
they have even proscribed
back him,
those.
Yes, to back his call for
before now.
Biafra.
Very well.
Nobody was saying
before now, nobody. Everybody has kept seed lips and was enjoying what Kanu was doing. Look, the truth be told, if a child is doing something bad and you decide not to correct him, by the time he grows up, it will be too late in the day for you to be able to get him to change his way of doing things. At best, the silence of the southeastern people, at best, I would describe it as conspiracy.
All right, let me have your take on the silence of the Southeast leaders before all this snowballed into what we have going on presently in South?
Very well. First of all, I want to address the issue of saying that the government had actually done its best, what it was supposed to do. I want to disagree with my colleague.
All right.
That the government had done what it was supposed to do. When these people started this agitation, we were all here. They were just talking and talking and talking. Sometimes they would just decide everybody should stay at home, nobody should go to market and all that for today because we want our own self-determination.
And the people listened.
The people stayed at home. Nobody went out. And then the government did nothing. The federal government did not call them. The state government did not talk to them. And all that, nothing happened. So when these people discovered that nobody was listening to them, nobody was taking them serious and all that, they went a step further for them to form, have their own radio station and all that. And then they now decided to declare their own republic, which is a wrong thing in any case. It's a wrong thing. I have said it before. Now, if the federal government had at the beginning, when this issue raised its ugly head, called the parties together, form a committee, look at these people's agitation. What are they talking about? Is it something that is feasible? Is it something that is tenable? Is it something that we can manage and still remain one? There's no way we would have gotten to this stage. There's no way. And so the people that were keeping quiet and were enjoying it, I can assure you that majority of those people, what they actually want is what Kanu is talking about. Oh. But they are afraid because so many of them are in government. So many of them are here and there. They don't want to come out openly to say this is what we want. We want to back him and all that. It is when they discovered that the thing is going to get out of hand, they now came out with this issue of saying we have proscribed. How many times did they have meetings in Enugu there with the iPod members and all that?
He was called for meetings several times and he never showed up.
I don't mean this time. I mean before now.
All right.
There were several meetings and all that, and the stakeholders were present. I have some friends who were part of it who told me what went on there. So many of the people in the National Assembly were in support of what is going on.
For me,
so I can assure you that there is no way Kanu will come out
without the backing of
the
leaders.
So many people, the leaders.
No, for me,
so it is now that they have discovered that the water is about to overflow, that they now decide, okay, it is proscribed and all that. And now that they have proscribed it, they have moved the battle underground. I can assure you that if nothing is done, before you know it, this thing will catapult into something else.
And that's the more reason
because once you want to use fire to go and put off another fire, what you are doing is inviting more fire.
For me, let us distinguish between two serious issues.
All right.
One, as a people, there could be millions of Igbo people who wants to live outside Nigeria, who wants a nation of their own. But they believe that it has to be done in a civilized, legal manner. I'm not against all those forms of people. There are others too who are on this. So I'm just saying that if people kept quiet, it's not really because they were supporting. That's my own personal perception about it. I listened to a particular video clip when Kanu traveled abroad. He addressed some Igbo people outside. I think it's in New York. I think perhaps in one of these general conference of General Assembly of World Leaders. He spoke with them, and in the course of talking to them, I heard about 2-3 other persons that asked him questions. How did you come to this country? Which passport did you use?
The Nigerian passport.
You claim it to be a Biafran, and yet you still use a Nigerian passport. Then they went ahead to ask him some very germane questions. They said, look, my brother, when changes were brought into America, it was brought in such a manner that everyone is enjoying it today. Now, some of us who are old enough, we knew what happened during the Civil War. For a good number of you, you haven't seen that before. So for you to beat the drum of war might be much easier for a good number of people, for a good number of us who are much older than the Civil War. As little as we were then, I can tell you that it was not really a thing that should be repeated in any country. So for a young man to come around there, to line up some ragtag army, with this, I've said something not quite long ago that I won't be disappointed if it is found out later that he's having some backers. There are some manufacturers of arms and ammunition outside there. They want to sell. And the only way they can sell it is if there are battles, if they want to sell to warring factions. So they don't mind to harm such people. And with the steps that they have taken so far, then definitely he's not doing the appropriate thing. And for Nigerians, for Igbo people, for people that stays in the southeast, when the man said, you should not go out, stay indoors, that is terrorism.
I'm sure many stayed back.
Many had to, for fear of what will happen. So it was not out of respect for him, but out of fear for their lives. Out of, if you come out to say, look, what are you talking about? They are going to kill them. So apparently, at that point in time, you find out that the police were incapable of handling the situation.
All right, you're still watching Democracy and the Rule of Law, and we are discussing Operation Python Dance 2 and its legality and constitutionality. Let's take a look at the short clips of, we have two clips there. The Southeast governors prescribing the activities of the IPOB, and also Igbos in Kano dissociating themselves from the activities of Nnamdi Kanu and the IPOB. Sit back and watch this, and we'll be right back.
Southeast governors hereby resolve as follows. 1. All activities of IPOB are hereby prescribed. IPOB and all other aggrieved groups are advised to articulate their position on all national issues and submit to the Committee of Governors of Southeast, Ohaneze Ndibo, and National Assembly member from Southeast Zone through the Chairman of Southeast Governors Forum. 2. All governors of Southeast Zone are to ensure compliance in their respective states. 3. The Southeast Governors Forum, Ohaneze Ndibo, and National Assembly members do hereby reinforce their commitment to a united and indivisible Nigeria. 4. We also reinforce our desire for the restructuring of Nigeria, where all national issues will be discussed and amicably settled to achieve justice and fairness to every Nigerian. 5. We reiterate our earlier position that the November 18, 2017 gubernatorial election in Anambra State must hold. 6. Accordingly, we appeal to our President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, to please withdraw the military in the Southeast Zone while police perform their traditional role of maintaining law and order.
We also want to state categorically here that we are the Igbos residing and doing business in Kano State. Unequivocally state that we disassociate ourselves from the activities of IPOB. We had several meetings with the security agents, as I rightly said, so also with the governor. Just last Wednesday, we are with him, and he assured us, and our brothers and sisters, I can see there's peaceful atmosphere here. So nobody should entertain any fake news from any place saying something is happening. Nigeria is an indivisible entity, and we will remain one. Anybody who will want to foment trouble, the Constitution is there, the law is there, to tell him where he belongs to.
We want to advise our people in Kano that they should remain calm, that by the grace of God, there will be no trouble. The government and the security forces have assured us We should ask our people to remain wherever they are, that there will be no trouble. They are on top of the situation. So whoever is running should not run.
Welcome back, and this is still Democracy and the Rule of Law. There we just watched Kano indigents of the Southerners in Kano State calling for calm and dissociating themselves from the activities of the IPOB in the Southeast. And also the chairman of the Southeast Governors Forum, that is the governor of Ebonyi State, Dave Umahi, stating on behalf of the forum that the activities of IPOB has been proscribed in the region following rising tension and other incidents. And the governor also appealed to President Muhammadu Buhari to withdraw the activities of, to withdraw the army from the region. And he also noted that injustice or marginalization should not be a reason to talk about secession, maintaining that dialogue should be the best way to resolve and redress all these differences. Yes. Prior to that, the indigenous Southerners in Kano calling for calm and also denying IPOB and Nnamdi Kanu. A coalition of northern groups did come out, was it on Thursday or Wednesday, calling for calm, because we heard stories of houses being killed in Aba and also some parts of River State. But the coalition of northern groups did come out calling for calm and urging northerners not to be provoked by whatever was going on in the Southeast. How do you see this?
Very well. I want to see that actually what the coalition of northern leaders have done is very, very apt. Is commendable. You understand? Because without that pronouncement, we don't know what would have happened. We have heard what happened in Jos. People were no more even able to go out for days. We were afraid that something was going to happen and all that as a reprisal effect. So it is very, very commendable. But I want to say that the issue of the governors from the Southeast coming out now to proscribe iPod activities and whatever looks to me like something that is not done with sincerity. These people had been there since. They have been going around making all the agitations and all that. They knew that this organization is an illegal organization. It is not a registered body, and so it is illegal. You did not come out to say your activities are proscribed, your activities are illegal, so you should not go ahead to do whatever you are doing. Let me tell you something. There's nowhere in this country that something will go on, then the people around there don't know what is going on. The villages that these iPod people are operating are in the states where these governors reside. And they know very well what was going on. They kept quiet until now that Operation Python Dance had come into existence, and everybody is shouting that Python is going to bite virtually everybody to death. And they are now coming out now to say their activities are proscribed. It is wrong. They should have come out immediately. These people started. They floated Radio Biafra. Nobody said anything. In fact, some of them were enjoying listening to them. And then the people in the north, all this while that challenges were going on all over the place, they did not come out to disassociate themselves from iPod. When the northern elders met and issued quick notice, they did not come out to disassociate themselves from what Kanu was doing. It is now that they have seen that the soldiers have gone to do some damages that they feel we are no more safe in this place. We have to say that we are no longer interested in what is going on there. You understand? So it is what goes on in this place that, I mean, in this country, that every time we always try to do use fire brigade approach to issues. It is when the thing has come to the level that is of no more, I mean, you can no longer help the situation, that you now look for solution here and there. And that is what is going on. This should have been done from the beginning. There's no way we would have been able to get to the point that we are now. In fact, this grammar that we are speaking, we wouldn't be blowing it. So my colleagues would not be talking that Kanu has done the wrong, and so he should be crucified and all that. I would not be saying.
My brother said we should wait until they start carrying them.
Before you know.
Frankly speaking, because these people are agitating without violence, in my own mind, because they have not carried guns like the other people.
All right. So would you say the proscription of the group by the Southeast governors and also the association by Igbos in Kano is rather too late or too little?
First and foremost, the proscription is not of the group. If you listen to that clip very well, they only proscribe the activities of IPOB. Legally, they don't have the legal backing to proscribe IPOB.
Okay.
If you take a look at the Terrorism Act as amended 2013, you will discover that even the army that came up and proscribed IPOB do not have the legal powers to make that pronouncement. What that act prescribes is for the Attorney General to apply to the Federal High Court, or the Inspector General to apply to the Federal High Court, or the National Security Advisor to apply to the Federal High Court by expert application, applying that the activities of IPOB or any similar organization be proscribed. And the court, the Federal High Court, is empowered to actually make or refuse to make such an order, depending on the content of the affidavit attached to the application and filed in court. And nothing stops IPOB from filing another application, motion of notice, saying that, oh, set that order aside. We are not a terrorist organization. And the content of the affidavit will also show that they are not a terrorist organization. But is it not clear to all eyes, both in the country and outside the country, that the activities of IPOB is terrorist-like, and it is a terrorist organization? As such, they should be treated as terrorists.
All right. Your submission, though, he didn't answer my question, but it leads me to my next point of discussion. That is, the military on Friday declared IPOB a terrorist group. The military cited the following as its reason for placing the terrorist tag on IPOB. That is the formation of a Biafra Secret Service, formation of the Biafra National Guard, unauthorized blocking of public access road, extortion of money from innocent civilians at illegal roadblocks, militant possession and use of weapons, that is Molotov cocktails, machetes and broken bottles, among others, on a military patrol on the 10th of September. Physical confrontation of troops by Nnamdi Kanu and other IPOB actors at the checkpoint on the 11th of September, and also attempt to snatch their rifles. Attacks by IPOB members on a military checkpoint on the 12th of September at Isialangwa, where one IPOB actor attempted to snatch a female soldier's rifle. Now the question is, given all those reasons, is it enough to declare the group a terrorist organization?
Just one of the reasons that were given by the army will be enough for them to be tagged a terrorist group. Whatever you do that is designed to put terror on the general public, it doesn't even have to be army. You see, this issue of trying to snatch a rifle, that could be a different offense entirely. But the fact that you form a group, there is a group now, and the group, they have their agenda, and part of their agenda is being carried out. They already have their own state security services. They already have their own guards, military guards. They already have their own. They have more than this. That's the truth. By the time you come to the, by the time we appreciate what they are really doing, if you have all of this in place, they are already a terrorist organization. Group. That is the bitter truth, and I'm sure that that's the, is it. Let me add this to it. The fact that the governors, let's even look at that meeting, that forum that they had. It's not about the governors alone. The senators who are there. Ikwere Madu who happened to be the Deputy Senate President, was part of that meeting. A good number of their representatives in the House of Rep were also there. People, the Ohanese leader, Owodo, was part of that meeting. So you could see that this is a typical formation. This is a typical assembly of those who could, in their, as of right, speak for the Igbos. And they have spoken. You see, I'm conscious of one thing. I'm never too bothered about whether you have acted too lately. I am always impressed when you say, look, it is better late than ever. The fact that they have taken this action has taken the shine of IPOB. It has left them like a fish thrown out of water. You know, we had MASOP before them. MASOP are fighting with them now. If you talk about this radio that they are talking about, it was a formation of MASOP. So having said all of this, I think we should give credit to them for coming out to say this. But one thing I would disagree with is this. They are having to send an overture, a public overture to the president to withdraw me. They shouldn't have done that. That's my personal belief. All right. For me, they should have allowed the way it is. Then in their own wisdom, beside what they are reading to the public, meet the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces and say, Mr. President, this is what we are capable of doing. This is where we are. Sir, if these men are taken off, we will ensure that this will happen and this will not happen. That would have been a better way of doing it. Not that you come into the open and say, we plead with Mr. President to no. It's not done because the symptoms are still there. As far as I'm concerned, the symptoms are still there, and for as many, except the pick Kanu and his top commanders, then we are sleeping on a keg of gunpowder, which may explode anytime, any day. It starts in this manner. So for me, I think what they have done is in order generally, aside from that statement. Then for the Kano people, how else would you have expected them to talk? I've had cause to say this. Somebody issuing quick notice. I see that as a child's play. Somebody, it's a nonsensical thing. But then they have gone beyond child's play now. Unfortunately, Okorocha said it's a child's play. But for me, it's no longer a child's play. For a man who is already manufacturing missile, I saw it on one of these social media. I wouldn't know how real it is. But yes, we have seen them carrying broken bottles, cutlasses, and all whatnot. But then who knows what they will carry next? For me, my problem really is, it's not that you are asking to be left to be on your own. Who cares? Who cares? Do it the right way. But for me, by the time you come out and you say, every Igbo man, nobody must come out today, it means that you are even oppressing your own people. Certainly. The people you want to lead, you are asking them not to come out, not to. What has that got to do with you? Are you feeding them? Businesses. And I think basically the government should be decisive. Deal with them once and for all.
All right, Barrister Munan, the declaration of IPOB as a terrorist organization. Do you think this would have a reverberating effect on the likely innocent supporters of the group?
Very well. I think I still want to disagree with my colleagues that IPOB, it has the necessary ingredients of a terrorist organization. from their modus operandi, you discover that what they were doing was agitation. What they were doing up till the time they were proscribed was agitation. The OPC, at a particular point in the West, was an organization that went about doing all manner of things, even in this Lagos. And we were aware before they metamorphosed into a sort of a security outfit, as it were. You understand? What they were doing, nobody said they were terrorists. The fact that they did not form, they have their military, militia group and all that, they are, of course, if you want, we all know what is going on.
They were proscribed too. At the time they were proscribed.
No, I'm saying,
I'm
not talking of proscription. I'm talking of terrorists. Yes, labeling them a terrorist organization is my issue here.
Okay.
No,
what they have done...
Mike, sorry. If you ask you a question now, this is my house, and you are passing by with cutlass, with gun and all whatnot, and you are saying that I should not come out of my house for a whole day. What have you done? Have you not terrorized me?
That is not terrorism. That is not terrorism. You see, because you terrorize somebody does not make you a terrorist organization. You see, what happens is, before you can become a terrorist, we have to take into consideration what the international community regards a terrorist group. Before a group is labeled terrorist organization, the group must be involved in serious violence with guns.
No.
So it's not an issue of moving from one point to the other to tell somebody if you come out and all that we are going to do, and you say it's a terrorist. It's not.
Sorry, my brother.
It's not because you have meted out terror to somebody, then you become a terrorist organization. It's a different thing.
As far back as 1994, the United Nations General Conference and General Assembly had an occasion to define what they call terrorism. Every criminal act by which you impose terror on the general public,
you're a terrorist.
You are already a terrorist. Either you are championing an ethnic cause, or a religious cause, or whatever cause. For as long as you are a terror to the I was talking about myself. No. By the time you translate it to every other person, it's terrorism. There's no other way of defining it.
Now, I think my friend here has not even read the provisions of the Terrorism Act 2013. If he had read the provisions of the Terrorism Act, he would have known what terror or terrorism is.
I know what terrorism is. It's like you have not understood what I am saying. You have not. No. What I'm saying is that the mere fact that somebody has done something that has made you to fear, to be afraid, does not make the person a terrorist. That's what I'm saying. Terrorism involves where there is violence. That's what I'm saying. Violence to the point that the people that are
violence is as good as violence.
It's a terror act.
A threat of violence.
A threat.
Yes.
There's no violence. It's a threat.
Are you aware?
A threat of it.
There's no violence. These people have not brought violence into the agitation.
Are you aware?
That's what I'm saying, that they are not terrorists.
No election in is it Anambra?
Anambra.
Did they enforce it? Anambra State. It was a threat.
Allow them, they have the capacity to enforce it.
How?
How
was they used to enforce it? And that is why when they say that the soldiers they stopped the soldiers from moving and all that. What did they use in stopping the soldiers?
Now the government is acting. My brother Mona is complaining.
No, I'm not complaining about what they're... What I'm saying is that it is illegal. We are looking at it from the legal angle.
So they shouldn't have been declared
as terrorist organization.
Yeah. You know what? IPOB is a terrorist organization because they have all the ingredients as mentioned under the Terrorism Act. They have displayed all the ingredients, in fact, fulfill all the conditions for being proscribed. And if you buy my own opinion, and my opinion is not far from what the law says, because if you read that act very well, you discover that what IPOB is doing completely is terrorism. It's terrorism. And in fact, they should be declared as a terrorist organization.
They are. Does this has this changed the face of the whole agitation as it is now? The declaration of being a terrorist group, the proscription of the activities. Does it change the whole narrative of the Biafra agitation?
Basically, now, if anyone had lent some subtle support for them, you see, an average politician is a clever man. Perhaps they never knew he could get to this level. And now they have found out that with the way this guy is going, we are all in soap. This guy is going to throw us into another civil war. Yeah. We better checkmate him. And it's in order that they have decided that, look, in our area of coverage, we don't want to hear anything about IPOB there. It is enough for that. They can use the police to enforce it. But for me, the federal government says, as far as we are concerned, we were merely doing our security check. The military men were going by their normal job because we had this and we needed to checkmate it, and you attacked us. Hey, it's not done anywhere in the whole world. No professor will confront a mere sergeant and talk rubbish before. I think we should be fair with ourselves. And I think the IPOB people, for them to have used stone and pure water and all water, it's most unfair. I mean, it's like Yoruba normally say that a small child who uses a small hand to receive a big one.
Yeah, but Barrister Damu, you did make a very important note as to the power who declares a group, a terrorist group. You said, and I have it here, the Honorable Attorney General of the Federation, the NSA or the IGP, but it is the military who made this. Do you think the military did make this pronouncement on behalf of the president?
No, normally it is not done that way.
Okay.
The proscription by the military has no place in our laws as presently constituted in the Terrorism Act. Declaring IPOB or any organization a terrorist organization. But I think what the military has done, from all the activities or what the IPOB members have done as enumerated by the military, it is terrorism.
Do you think the courts will still have to make a pronouncement as
very well. Very well. Nothing stops the Honorable Attorney General of the Federation from applying to court. And nothing also stops the IGP, the Inspector General of Police in Nigeria, from applying. And nothing stops the National Security Advisor to the President from applying to the court, prescribing IPOB as a terrorist organization.
I think basically where we are today, mere declarations were made by people. They are what we should be able to distinguish between a valid declaration and a mere declaration. Yeah. What they have done in good stead, in that this will help those who are looking at the position of the law, those who should do what they are supposed to do. At a point, questions will be asked. Inspector General of Police, what are you doing? Attorney General of Federation, what are you doing? Because one, this group, they were never registered by anyone. But then you need to make, you see, despite the fact that they were not registered, despite the fact that they are illegal, they are just like wind that is blown anywhere. But then they can be caught by the law. And when the law catches at them, that is when the law says you are proscribed. We don't want to hear anything about you again. But you see, the danger in it is this. Masop was proscribed. We are still talking about Masop today. By the time the OPC was at the point proscribed, or is it the APC too? But they are still on. I'm just hoping that one day the law will become the law in this country.
All right.
See, there is a difference between proscription and declaring a body a terrorist organization. You understand? The people that came out to proscribe, to say you are no longer in existence. You see, the body was not even legally registered to be said that, okay, you were in existence. But the issue of labeling them, declaring them a terrorist organization is the legal issue that has to go through the ambit of the law, the ambit of the court. not the prescription. You cannot prescribe, prescribe what did not exist in law.
No, you see.
It is only.
No, you see not to understand
what we are saying now.
We are
what I am
applying the law. We are applying the Terrorist Act.
That's what I'm saying.
It
The
says
terrorists.
No, it says that for a body that you discover to be a terrorist body to be proscribed as
a
such,
terrorist,
it has to be done validly through the court.
That's what I'm saying.
And the court is federal court.
So, and that's the reason why I said mere declaration might not mean formal proscription.
Probably we'll see in the coming days the court,
The Attorney
General making the declaration.
They are applying to court for the court to make a pronouncement.
All right, before we wrap up the show, what do you think the federal government should do at this point going on, and what should we be seeing in the coming days on the IPOB activities in the Southeast Operation Python dance?
Very well. What I feel the federal government should do at the instance is to address the issue that led to this agitation. That is the paramount issue. Very many people have brought the issue of restructuring. Very many people have brought the issue of power devolution and all that. The federal government needs to look at this and see how to address these issues, address the injustices and all that, to be able to douse the tension that is going on. Because as far as I'm concerned, the prescription of, or the tagging of this group as a terrorist group and proscribing them is not going to stop them from continuing underground as a guerrilla warfare group. You understand? So they will still walk underground. But the fact is that the government, the society will now know that they are no longer needed in the society as such, just like the other groups.
All right, you have your 2 seconds.
Yeah, I think from his submission, it is very clear that he has admitted that there is unrest in that part of the country. And there is the need, urgent need, for the deployment of security, the military personnel. If you leave it for me, I will say, one, what the federal government has done is a step in the right direction. And secondly, the federal government should sustain the tempo so as to bring peace and order in the entire country.
All right,
I think basically formal proscription should be done and they should be fully outlawed. And I felt, again, the military should remain where they are until every trace of IPOB is removed from that.
All right, and that's today's edition of Democracy and the Rule of Law, where we did take a look at Operation Python Dance 2 and the activities of the IPOB and the declaration